Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for To Your Eternity, chapter 161. When we last left our heroes, Fushi and the gang had a big long discussion about Fushi becoming God. We saw a little bit of Satoru showing off the powers that he can use as basically being God. And he gave a little bit of it to Fushi, and Fushi was not quite ready for it, so he sort of passed out. But you know, that sort of, then Fushi ended up back at the Aoki house where everyone was like, should Fushi take these powers? And the answer was, maybe that's best for him, but Fushi has to be the one to decide, and he still has 3 years before Satoru ceases to be God to take these powers, so we'll see what Fushi does with that. Yuki is on board with it, but also Yuki's sort of always been a weird case in that sort of thing. So we'll see what Fushi does. So let's dive right on into chapter 161, Independence Part 1. And an interesting thing here is that the last chapter was titled Codependence, which feels very much like it's in conversation with Independence, given that they are kind of opposites. Our picture is of Fushi sitting alone amidst a bunch of desks in a classroom. I don't know, the title though does kind of worry me, because when I think last chapter in the context of codependence, I think of Fushi relying on his friends to come to an answer for what to do about Satoru's offer. And Independence, given how much of a problem ignoring his friends' wishes has been in this, era, I'm a little worried. I'm just a little worried. Anyway, we open on Funa in class. What am I supposed to do after graduation? Have you decided yet, Kasabechi? I mean, you're still in middle school, Funa. It's not that big a deal. But Kasabe tells her, I guess I haven't decided yet. Nope. Oh, I see. And then turns to Mizuha. What about you, senpai? Or this might be Yuki's line, actually, because we see Yuki watching that conversation, and I think Funa and Mizuha are in the same class, so I think this would be Yuki. What about you, senpai? Which high school are you going to go to after you graduate? Yeah, it is Yuki. And Mizuha tells him, oh, right now I'm trying to decide whether I should go to Kawanami High. Now this is in the club room. We see Tamaki and Senba just doing their weird occult shit in the background. And Yuki just freaks out, huh? Isn't that an elite out-of-prefecture school? And we see Tamaki's, wow, and Senba's, I knew you named High. Do I have that right? I always get Tamaki and Senba confused. I did get that right. But Yuki's just, I can't do it. There's no way I can get into that place. Let's pick somewhere closer and less popular, okay? Yeah, Yuki's sort of letting his feelings for Mizuha flush out of him. And Hana tells him, Yuki-kun, you're letting it all come out. Did you mean to? And he realizes, how badly he's fucked up. Huh? I did? Pretend you didn't hear that. And Hana just, teases him. But we did. It's a lost cause. And then Fushi enters the club room and questions, huh? What was that? Are we going somewhere? But Mizuha just tells him, we were talking about what we're doing after graduation. Which, has the immortal godling ever really thought about post-graduation? Because Tamaki questions, what do you want to do, Fuji-san? And Senba, live the free life? And Fushi's just kind of confused. After graduation? I don't get that stuff. Bon will handle it for me. Yeah, but that's an interesting thing, though, because that's kind of a codependent vibe. And with Bon, he has always had a codependent vibe. That sort of, he relies on Bon. We've seen that throughout the era, and even going into the Renril stuff, as I recall. It's been a long time since I read that. But Hana just gets on to him, you can't be like that, Fushi-kun. You can choose how to live your own life. And that drags Fushi back to the conversation with Satoru and March telling him, you just do what you want to do. And he looks down kind of ashamed. Yes, I know. And Hana tells him, that's right. And then turns to Yuki. You too, Yuki-kun. There's still half a year before we graduate. You've got to become your own man before then. How uncool would you be if you made Mizuha worry about you as you saw her off? He sort of sheepishly admits, yes, you're right. But how do I become my own man? And Hana just tells him, do you have any regrets? Are you actually doing the things you want to do? And that gives Yuki an idea. I'm curious if it's going to be Mizuha related or if that's going to tie back into his goal of telling the world about the knockers. It's the latter, it seems like. As he dashes off, the occult news still isn't finished. ORC assemble. Well, gather our data at Hirotoshi's place. Let's finish that article. Stop going to Hirotoshi's. I don't like you kids near Hirotoshi. God damn. But Senba tells him, or Tamaki tells him, sir, yes, sir. And we cut to a park where Fushi seems to be like sitting alone. Everyone's thinking about all this hard stuff. I've got to decide what I'm going to do too. Will I inherit the guy in black's powers, or stay as I am? I understand what Bon is saying. If you only look at the upsides, obviously I should do it, but I personally don't even know what I'm anxious about. I'm interested in the combining the ideas of like post-graduation anxiety along with Fushi entering a new stage of his existence and potentially becoming a god. You know, just like the middle schoolers entering a new stage of their life, becoming high schoolers, there is some like interesting connections Oima's like positioning here. I don't know, we'll see how she develops that. I personally don't even know what I'm anxious about. And then the horse shows up, the Piran horse. Just like, snorts at him, hey horse, I'm sure you'd tell me to do as I like. And then he just tells the horse, oh, I've been thinking about your name. What do you think of tofu? And Piran horse just like clops away. Oh, you don't like it? How about almond tofu then? She like neighs at him. Then mochi, white rice, nappa, bean sprout. And she just like chomps on Fushi. Yow! Geez, you're so selfish. I can't think of any other white foods. They chases after the horse, and then he sees a rustling. It looks like the paper airplanes from Satoru's God demonstration. And yeah, it is. As he looks at it, isn't this the paper airplane the guy in black made the other day? And he sort of picks it up, and like they all seem connected. He presented like the whole, you can do with them as you will, and they created little like doubles for the airplanes, and they're all sort of still connected. And Fushi looks at it, It's not moving. Is it dead? Because Satoru did imply that like they were kind of alive. And he looks at it, and he does see like the eyes are closed. So the front one has eyes, and it seems to have actually died. And it impacts Fushi. He feels but is he about to acquire a paper airplane form? And then he comes to either the orphanage or maybe it's Satoru's school to confront him. Guy in black! And he throws the airplane being on a table. You said that you can do anything. You said your powers are omnipotent. So why did this thing die? I mean, I don't get it. If you wanted to, you could have made it immortal like me. There's no reason to make everyone suffer and die. Perona and Pyoran didn't have to die. How is that omnipotent? And Satoru just tells him, well, I gave this one eyes, but no nose or mouth. That's not suited for life. But Fushi is not really, he's not really focused, like, the plane is not the point here to Fushi. The point is Perona and Pyoran and everyone who's ever suffered and died. That is a heavy fucking theological question Fushi is getting at here. If God is all powerful and all good, why do people suffer? I am not equipped to fucking address that on my manga review channel. God damn it, Oima. Answer my question. Is this just a game to you? Why do you make us suffer? But Satoru just stops him. That is not a question. It's just a complaint. If you don't like it, you can make them yourself. So that no one will die. No one will suffer. Things that can turn into anything. Things that can do anything. You can make them. And that sort of like, that possibility freezes Fushi. And then Sumika just interrupts the moment. You're not welcome, fella. Not welcome. And just socks him. Fushi hits the ground. And Sumika like grabs his Satoru's hand. Come along, Satoru. And Satoru gives Fushi one last thing as he leaves. Sorry for creating things with flaws. To me, that was perfect. And that sort of is where we leave off, which is a fascinating moment to end on. It's a sort of theological line I'm going to be like turning over in my head for a while, I do think. Because, it's a question I reckon with in my own life. The all-powerful, all-good, why is there suffering? And, we can debate how effective a theory of suffering that actually is. Because this is a complicated question. It does not have easy answers because, heaven forbid we have easy answers for something, Oima. But yeah, I don't know. It's not quite a really, hard to parse out chapter. It's not something that you really have to dig into to, get at what it's going for. But it is a heavy chapter. First, we sort of have the more simplistic, use of metaphors, the graduation as a metaphor for Fushi's new potential godhood as a metaphor for graduation. The fact that, specifically Mizuha and Hana, they have high school after this, and that's 3 years in Japan. So they have right around 3 years until they're fully adults. And Fushi also has 3 years to take the god powers of Satoru. And that, it's 3.5 years in their case, as Hana brings up. There's still half a year before we graduate. But that feels a little important. I don't know. We'll see. But those are definitely connected, and, we're early enough in those two things being connected that we still have to really wait to see how Oima is going to connect those things going forward. But she definitely is connecting them. I don't know. We'll see exactly what comes of that. And then there's the whole thing with the airplane being, which, is kind of heavy all of a sudden. As Fushi debates, why is an omnipotent, benevolent god allowing suffering? And, Satoru's answer is not the sort of thing a lot of people who are actively suffering will care about. Sorry for creating things with flaws. I understand objectively the idea of, it's the line, is it Mayuri in Bleach, I think, where the when something is perfect, it's lacking in imperfections, and that is itself an imperfection kind of thing. That's sort of the argument that, Satoru is making here. But also, tell that to Perona, who was killed very young by Hayase. I mean, Pyoran maybe lived a good life. I don't think Pyoran really... she was suffering at the end with her dementia. But, the people who do suffer aren't really... They don't really feel good with an excuse like that. So we'll see exactly where Oima is taking this debate, because it is a thorny one. And I'm excited to see where she goes with it. Because, I don't know, what is the answer to this question? I'm not sure there really can be one. But with that little bit of lack of feel-goodness, I'm just going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!